Welcome back to Concealing the Historica Imperialis in our 40K Book Club series. I am Decurio Iomhar, and today I am joined by Decurio Chamlan and a special guest who goes by Tekonis. For our more fox-eared listeners, you will note that Tekonis is our resident 40K newbie and friend to the channel who is featured in our 40K lore and roleplay series. I figured it would be a quaint idea to get him on to talk about what would be a newfound experience for him in the form of 40K literature. Say hi, you two.
How's it going?
We know each other from the RPG. What are you talking about?
I just said that, yes.
Why do we need to say hi?
I don't know. Hi to the viewership, you rube.
Oh, see, that's different. I thought you were telling us to say hi to each other.
This guy.
I was very confused.
More to the point. Today we will be reviewing Celestine, The Living Saint by Andy Clark. If you like this sort of video, feel free to leave us a like, comment, or subscribe. We have episodes of 40K Book Club drop on the first Wednesday of every month at 4 p.m. EST. Links to our Patreon and Discord below. Now, Tekonis. What did you think about the cover art, and would you add or subtract anything to it?
I thought the cover art was pretty good. I like the initial look of it. If I was going to probably add anything to it, I would maybe like move her up and maybe add the other characters from when the book jumps between like Major Blascane or somebody like that. Like maybe in like lower parts, like just like not as like she's like centerpiece, but like maybe some like little side characters down on the side or something like that.
Get this man a job on the Dawn of Fire covers.
Okay.
Immediately understood the complete assignment.
Well, how about, not that you like you.
You mean a bit like this?
Yeah. Yeah. So, like, you're probably the art guy of the group amongst, being like a professional chef. So I was rather curious as to your insight on, like, if the space, the negative spaces were filled appropriately, or what you had to say about, like, the character design and all that.
Yeah, I did like her character design as someone I think I've only ever seen really beforehand the model for Celestine. But I think her design was pretty well done. As for the negative space in the cover, I thought they painted it pretty well.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Chamlan, what do you think?
So I bought the omnibus, the Saints and Martyrs Adeptus Sororitas omnibus, because you can't get the individual novel for a reasonable price. And you guys probably haven't seen it, I assume.
Not that one, no. Like. Oh, that was gorgeous.
See, I didn't like it because I don't like her hair.
What's wrong with her hair?
It doesn't look good.
Like, specifics, man.
Look at how... It's like Bride of Frankenstein combed back.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like it's flowing back.
It doesn't look like it's flowing. It looks like it's like...
Yeah, for hair that's supposed to be flowing back and where the bridge of her head is for like her
it looks
hairline.
Weird. It looks like it looks like an 80s hair metal.
Like she has a perm going on where it's like it's gotten poofy and then back.
Yeah,
I can see what you mean by the hair.
It's like 80s hair metal.
So,
but I do like this cover, the fact that it actually includes like the Sororitas underneath her, and then that kind of split here where it's the demon side. So. Yeah, signaling her like.
So it is worth noting that the cover art that we are presented, obviously due to yours being an omnibus and ours not, does differ.
I mean, I looked at the other one.
Okay, so what do you think of the other one?
The other one, it looks fine. It's deceptive because it expressly shows daemonettes, and Celestine does not have an experience in the realm of pleasure in this book, which is a crying shame, because technically this is a bit of further in, but like, one, I don't like it when books lie to me based on their cover. This book lied to me. They showed daemonettes. No daemonettes in this book. Lame. Two, it could have been an exemplar opportunity for Celestine to interact with what's her name, Sabathiel. The one Sororitas that actively chose to embrace chaos, not were unwillingly corrupted. That would have been a good opportunity. Just Celestine. I mean, again, I don't like it when covers lie to me. So at least an experience in the realm of pleasure, but you gave up an opportunity here.
Oh, yeah. They're playing it safe these last couple of years, I've noticed, when it comes to Slaanesh and Slaanesh. I agree. I don't like false advertisement either. especially if it's cover art and it's supposed to, kind of makes you think is like how much communication was going off between the people who were writing the book versus
that may have
design.
been old art that they repurposed.
So I don't think I know enough to know about that little catch there, because I was like, I don't know what like
demonette. They have claws and they're pink.
They're lesser demons of Slanesh.
Okay,
They're the poster boys of Slanesh demon. And
whoa. They're the poster Zers. Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's be respectful.
You just Zers. I'm sorry.
Poster, whatever the hell they want to be. Actually, I think canonically speaking, daemonettes are all hermaphroditic in some capacity. Wait, no, they are all intersexed, I believe is the proper term these days.
Moving on. For my part, I liked it, though it was simple, and I feel it could have been benefited by adding at least one or more of the side characters, as you so pointed out, Tekonis. Other than that, it really didn't have anything much to add. As to the cover art that you showed us, and I'll be sure to have a picture of both cover arts so that we have an idea of like what we were referring to. I must say, I didn't. At looking at it, closer inspection, I don't feel very great about the hair for that one as well. Because isn't she supposed to have like a bob cut or something?
Well, it depends on the depiction.
Yeah.
Well, I don't see. Here's the thing: you can have a solo character focus like this on a solo character focused book, and Celestine's novel is about Celestine. So that's just where I'm coming from. I didn't need another character. I just needed the book to not lie.
Okay. I think this is a good time to go into the next question. So, Tekonis, what were your expectations about the book before you read it, and did it meet those expectations?
That's the thing when I typically read most books. I try not to have really any expectations because I don't want to have too high of expectations and like have the book disappoint me. It's hard, and it's also kind of hard to have expectations for a book like I don't really know much about. So I went in with just like basically no expectations, but I did end up liking the book.
Well, that's good. I suppose that tactic worked then. Cham, what about you?
I mean, the description of the novel in this is we follow Celestine beyond the veil of death and back again to answer the God Emperor's call. It is what it says on the tin.
Boy.
I mean, I had the expectation to do that, and we did that. So
I almost feel that this question is a little unfair if, you have every single person here that reads the back of the book,
Well,
I get it. Like you have to have.
How am I supposed to get expectations for a book if I don't read the back of it? That's what it's for.
In this regard, I do believe that they succeeded and didn't mislead like it has in certain Dawn of Fire novels.
It certainly has done that.
All right. So I expected a story about Saint Celestine and her origins. To a point, my expectations were met, though it seems that this novel focuses more on the cycle that is her life now, rather than her origin. Even so, it was very insightful, and I wouldn't mind another dip in her story arc in future arcs, or even previous arcs if I assume there's a book before this.
There's not a book before this, but there is a book that covers Celestine during the events of like when she gets back to Terra, I think, with some custodies. I don't recall exactly. That might just be like the Gathering Storm literature.
Yeah.
One thing. Here's the thing about Celestine's origins. I don't think that they can reasonably answer that because they provided more than one, and they don't want to give a firm response of like this is it. Over the years, I mean, 40K is.
So she's had different origins?
Yeah, 40K is 40 years old. She's appeared. She's had different origins postulated more than once. The most commonly accepted one is she was a Rapincia that died in a tomb that had the armor in it in the first place, and then became a saint on her redemption, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, it's been a minute.
I think that was like her first actual appearance.
They seem to regurgitate the Sister Rapincia thing.
Yeah, but they offer a secondary in this book.
Yeah.
With the whole at the siege, she's a priestess praying for the emperor to save them. She's in the imperial palace, and he like walked by her and looked at her, and that imbued her with like saintness, I guess.
Yeah.
I looked at you. You're a saint now. I was like,
He can do that.
He's got the listen. He's got the magic touch. He's got the power.
I'm not going to imply that the emperor touched Celestine. All right, that's got some implications.
Oh, Pushad. Okay, we're gonna move on. What did you like best about the book Tekonis? Followed by what did you like the least?
I did like the concept of the book where how it kept going from basically her in the like the afterlife, or basically
She's in the warp.
Yeah, that's what I figured. She's in the warp, like her spirit's in the warp, and then jumping back to the other timeline where she's like here and there. So
like on one side of the spectrum, we're having a story arc of her reconstructing herself after every single death, and then that massive pile of corpses is every time she's died. Which that's what I was thinking too, that this massive corpse, like, I was like, are these all the bones of her? Like, yes. Okay, that's what I figured. And so that's the one story, and the other is where she manifests in the planet that desperately needs her, and the story. But yeah, no, you got it. That's good. What'd you like least, though?
What did I like least?
Let him chew on that and I'll answer.
Yeah, let me chew on that for a second.
All right.
Okay, so I did like that they at least put a postulation out for the multiple origins of just like all the origins are true in their own way.
Mm-hmm.
Whether her multiple beginnings and ends are when or where we think that they are, they can be any whence that they can be.
Mm-hmm.
I suppose. One thing I disliked is that Goffrey, or whatever his name is.
Yeah, I didn't like it.
That guy.
I hated that guy.
The issue is that they should have made him a bit more subtle. If they had made him a bit more subtle, he would have been more palatable.
Yeah.
And I appreciated him coming from... Okay, so in Dark Heresy First Edition, Sorites worked differently up until Book of Faith.
Yeah.
Which is when they introduced like the 7th edition stuff of like the faith magic and things.
Mm-hmm.
I like that Goffrey came from a stance of like, I am pre 7th edition opinions on the nature of Imperial Saints. That could have been more subtle. That could have been more subdued, and he would have been a more interesting character.
Yeah.
I just like that he was immediately like, you're not going to like this person. It's like, oh, so he's a chaos cultist? Like, no, worse, he's an imperial. If I had a nickel for every time an inquisitor went off his nut because he was like, this is my mission, this is what I believe in, I have the power, I'd have a good few dollars.
Yeah, no, right, yeah.
And it's not weird that it's happened this much at this point, and they should make it weird.
Yeah. My part I at least like was leaning toward Joffrey. I was like, because I was like, I don't know if like that me necessarily not liking this guy is a bad part, but it's just like, but yeah, like I do go to the point with like you saying like it was just too straight to the point. If he was a little bit more subtle, it would have been a little better. But because this guy was like, nah, she's a witch.
I like upsetting people around me. Like, he talks like Skeletor. There's no way this guy does.
It's not the way I saw him too.
I mean, like, well, the audio book, he just like some guy.
Nah, he talks like Skeletor.
I mean, that makes it much more funny and palpable for me. For my part, I like the characters and their struggles and enjoyed the brevity of the bolter porn, as it seemed to me not the focus of the story despite the setting. It seemed to me to take a backseat over the narrative, which is, always interesting. What I liked least was the back and forth between the warp sojourn and the main story. Felt the warp bits could have been reduced a bit. Though I understand on a fundamental level of storytelling that this device was necessary to come full circle. See, I don't know why that it irked me this time around, because we've in previous, reviews encountered storytelling like that. It's jarring, yes. This one was...
The issue is that because you're flipping back every other chapter, it's jarring.
I will say it was a little less jarring than the other ones have been, but even so, it's almost forgivable because the story beats are fluid enough, if that makes any sort of sense. It's just I didn't like it personally, but
there's also not enough, because it's such a short novel. There's not enough padding in between the jumps to make them feel paced. You're whiplashing as opposed to like, okay, we're here. We're going to stay here for a second.
Now, would you say that for the most part, the whole thing resonated though? Or is it just, as you said?
Oh, I didn't mind it. I mean, we'll get to this question later, but there's other stuff I would change.
Okay.
I would change it to where it's all chronological.
I think I might have preferred
then you can literally, you can have the same end. You could just have the beginning, have the war story, have the end being like beginning of the cycle.
Well, I inclined to agree with you on that one, frankly.
Because I don't think it gives anything separating it, because we're not getting separate instances of her dying and coming back. We're getting one instance of her revival and one instance of her existence.
Yeah.
So it's not useful to Whiplash to be like, oh, this is different. Oh, okay, I picked up this piece. Okay, I picked up this piece. You know, it's just like, okay, we just split the thing in half and then shuffled it like a deck of cards, and you're just presenting it to me this way.
Yeah. Where
you could just be like, well, I don't care about her out of the warp, so I'm just going to skip this chapter.
Yeah. Okay. So, Tekonis, who was your favorite character and why? And obviously, the follow-up question is, were there any characters you disliked?
What? No. Probably favorite character. It was split between two. I liked Major Blaskane, how he was, and then there was her name is escaping me at the moment, but it was one of the sisters, Sororitas. It was the one that kept questioning her faith.
Oh, okay.
She's like, I know I'm here, but why am I not feeling how I normally feel? Like almost the entire time, she's like, no, I'm not a heretic, but why is there nothing here? Like, I hate that I'm not feeling.
It's like, she's floating with wings. Why am I not feeling something?
Why am I not fangirling like every other sister in front of me right now?
Yeah. Seen too much war, possibly. Yeah. You can get jaded over stuff.
Dislike is
she 100% had the jaded talent.
Yeah, and I'm sorry. What was
the dislike? Obviously, is Joffrey.
Yeah. Oof. Chamlan, let's go.
I mean, how many characters are in this book? Like 5?
There's about 5 or 6. Yeah.
There you go. Yeah.
Not including the other versions of Celestine in the warp.
Well, those aren't the other versions of Celestine. Those are her Gemini sisters.
Oh shit! Really? I thought those were.
Yes, dude.
I thought those were her shards of her personality.
Well, I mean, they technically are that, but they're also her Gemini sisters.
Right. So okay. So I don't feel quite so bad about that.
The Gemini sisters are reflections of her, but given secondary form.
I understand.
Because there's so few characters, it's hard to be like, I like this one more than the other ones. I like this one. I mean, Godfrey could have been written better. He wasn't like annoying. It was just like, okay, I get you're the guy.
You're the guy.
I can't say that I like Celestine the most in the novel. I guess if I had to like make a choice, it'd probably be the sister, but that's only because the one that Tekonis is talking about. Because I liked the bit about the rekindling of her faith, the ashes into sparks into flame. It was a well written quote. I didn't like feel for her plight, but she was at least, whatever.
I mean, I quite enjoyed the Major as well, because he seemed to be the only rational one there. He went out of his way to be the voice of reason amidst a group of desperate survivors and fanatics. His death towards the end of the book was a bit cathartic for me, though I still struggle to grasp why this was. As for dislike, obviously, priest turned inquisitor. Though I suppose that was by design.
Let's be real here. He was an inquisitor that was playing a priest.
Yeah.
I could be the only one sent by the emperor. How dare she?
He was a great lens into the other viewpoint of Celestine for some within the ecclesiarchy and for the older editions as a whole. Perfectly detestable sort to remind everyone of the grimdark setting. So, he served a purpose through his lens. It's just he was awful. And sometimes a villain just needs to be just awful. There are other times where it's more appropriate to have a more highbrow, more engaging villain. But since the story was so short, it was just like, what's the point, You could waste a couple other chapters explaining, but like
I don't even know if I'd call him a villain until right up at the very end. He was certainly an antagonist. There was a legitimate chance where Celestine could have just been like, bro, I am literally sent by the Emperor, witness my Emperor godlike powers.
Yeah.
But Godfrey just wasn't having any of it.
Yeah, it's at the very least it's worth like mentioning what we have up to this point about like all that.
Yeah.
Enough said. Tekonis, did any part of this book evoke a strong emotion in you? And if so, which part and what emotion did it trigger?
I don't know if it triggered specifically any strong emotions. It's just.
I mean, you know the answer. It's the usual answer. There's nothing that's going to like,
I feel like this is the cop-out question because I admittedly did not have it as well. That being said, I will say the scene where the lieutenant received a field promotion was pretty good. She deserved it, but it didn't like evoke strong emotion from me. This book was just much too short and to the point in order to have that kind of connection, at least when it comes to the evoking of emotion. Now, I will argue that there were plenty of scenes that I felt there was a resonation, that I resonated with, but it didn't be like jump out of my chest, heart pumping kind of, situation or anything like that, which is unfortunate, but that's how it is sometimes. So Tekonis, what themes stood out to you in the book and how well do you think the author explored these themes?
I guess one of the themes would be the theme of what, I don't even know if it's kind of like a theme, but like of her, what she has to go through every time she revives. Because basically her memory gets wiped and then she has to continue again.
Yeah. That's kind of rough. Yeah, that's really rough. So we'll go ahead and get your answer, Chamlan.
I mean, the entire thing is about the rediscovery of faith.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty hard on the nose about the idea of the rediscovery and or rekindling of one's faith. The two side characters that are important both go through these journeys.
I guess the only part I don't understand is like, I mean, her being Saint Celestine, that every time she dies, she again has to prove her faith over and over and over again.
It's all about the purification of the soul.
She's not pure. She's not proving anything. She just has to rekindle herself.
Yeah, not because.
Well, but
okay. So think about
it. Would almost seem because it almost seems like to me like with how the because I saw it's like parts of her.
Yeah.
The way they questioned her and had her do these things, especially the one I think was initially Duty, the one that had was holding the little version of her hostage.
Well, I mean, yeah,
but they're like just made sure like she really has to prove herself every time, even though it's like she's proven herself multiple times.
She reaches this. Okay, so you remember in Arc 5 when I talked about this, you feel this. I can't remember the actual term, but it's just they're like levels of ecstasy. And like eventually, even at the end, Elijah, I was like, Elijah, you feel this. It's like the highest level of religious ecstasy you can feel. It's basically like a form of enlightenment.
Yeah.
Celestine has to go through this journey because demon are shards of chaos. Demon are shards of chaos gods. When they die, they're either reincorporated into the whole or they're rekindled. Much like any Chaos Space Marine that's worth anything gets reformed or whatever. Celestine is ostensibly what most people would define as a daemon of the Emperor. The same concept, not like evil. So she is reforming herself after her death because the Emperor can't just be like, okay, you're here because he doesn't have that much power or influence. So her soul is protected in its own sense. But there's also the quantification that we got towards the end of Hope explains to Celestine that you made a bargain. You made a deal, and this is the price of the deal. So you can either give up.
That's true.
You can either give up on the deal, or you can continue the work.
That was very succinctly explained, especially for those viewership that are listening and that don't understand the metaphysical nature of demons as a whole and like what it means to constitute them into real space and like what their whole kit and caboodle is. So thank you for that, Chamlan. So we covered your theme. Did you have anything else that you wanted to bring up before we move over to mine?
No. I mean, like I said, the theme's pretty much smacking you in the face.
Okay, so true to book club form, I did find several, but I'm going to focus on points. It's still about a little wordy, but yeah, let me get it through. So there were several, which is so surprising given the length of this book. Let's start with the obvious theme of faith and sacrifice. The story goes into detail about the enormous faith the saint possesses and the sacrifices she made in the name of the emperor. The whole duality struggle of duty and personal identity. The other theme is perception and ambiguity. The story plays with perception, inquiring on the nature of Celestine's role and the interpretations of her miracles by different characters. And the last theme of note is expectation and imposter syndrome. Throughout the novel, there are moments in which the weight of expectation clashes with her self-inflicted imposter syndrome as she struggles with the cost of her resurrections. Now, to the author's credit, I feel all three of these themes were tackled with care and due diligence. It made the character of Saint Celestine relatable, despite the fact that she is supposed to be a walking miracle with wings. So that's what I got out of that. I don't know if you guys, more or less, were kind of hitting the same gong here, as it were. So that's good. So Tekonis, I think we're going to move on to the next question. If you could give this book a different title, what would it be?
Why don't you just give this one to me first? Because you know how this is going to go.
Okay, I'm going to give you you're going to get.
I don't necessarily know if I would change the title. And I really couldn't think. Like initially, with the question, I was like, I don't know what I would change it to, even if I did.
Well, obviously, I have nothing but joke answers.
The book's about the saint, and the book is literally called The Living Saint. Like,
yeah. Tell you what, Chamlan, let's give him some time to stew, because he'll do yours, we'll do mine.
You don't have to, but if you want to chew on.
We'll do your serious ones, I'll do my joke ones. Listen, at this point,
Are they good jokes?
I think the first one's pretty clever, but I don't know if that inherently makes it funny.
All right, well, I didn't have a lot this time. So, faith, duty, hope.
Mm-hmm.
La Morte de Celestine. I don't know.
Okay, I can dig it. All right. Zesty, I like it.
They get sued for it, for sure, but Rise, Fall, Rage, and Grace. I mean, does it not?
He snuck a fun one in there, guys.
But it works.
Yes.
The issue is that it works. Okay, so it does sound like a really bad mystery crime novel that involves like Dan Brown, but the Benediction Cycle. Or maybe like the Cycle of Benediction.
Okay, I can dig it.
The issue is that like it's a character novel. You need the character's name on the character novel. Otherwise, people aren't going to know what it is.
Yeah,
it's the same thing as when they're like, it's the Fulgrim novel, which is not the same as the Fulgrim novel, which is not the same as the Fulgrim novel.
And yes, there are three that are literally called Fulgrim.
There are at least two. I'm pretty sure there are.
Well, one's got the whole bracket, name followed by bracket and then thing, and then one's just Fulgrim.
Yeah.
And that one's...
I think that... there's a short story.
Yeah.
There's a short story that has Fulgrim in its title.
Yeah.
Either way.
So, ready for mine. There and Back Again, A Saint's Tale.
That's not the worst that you could have come up with. I'm sure they get worse.
I only have one more, and it's called The Passion of Celestine.
See, the issue is that, like, if it was her first one, I'd agree. But... because it's a cycle.
I mean, she goes through it every single time.
I thought about that until I was like, it doesn't make any sense because it's not the only death that they had.
Yeah. It just makes it so much worse when you see the pile. But, all right. Last chance. You got one for us?
Yeah, I thought I wanted. It was just Saint reignited faith. Or Faith Reignition or something like that?
Faith Reignition.
No. The Reignitor.
No. Faith Reignition is one hell of a metal title.
I feel we must make it so now.
It's like a Metallica album for sure.
Let me grow out my non-existent hair and just head bob.
Does that not work?
It kind of works.
It kind of works, yeah. Later Metallica though. When they weren't as great.
Don't sue us, Metallica.
I love you guys. You guys defined my teenage years.
I don't, but you have the Four Horsemen in black, so nobody can fault you.
Yes, this is true. The Four Horsemen in black had yet to exist at that point.
I mean, yeah, I'm just saying in general. You've got the Four Horsemen in black.
Well, I mean, yeah. Well, don't you know? Once they exist, they've always existed in one iteration or another.
I mean, so you might have a controversial opinion. I think black Metallica is overrated.
That's not controversial. Almost everybody that doesn't have taste thinks that.
Who doesn't have taste?
I stuck it in there. I was waiting to see if you caught it.
Yeah, how dare you besmirch the Black Album?
I'm not saying it's a perfect album, but it's not a bad album.
Actually,
no, we're going to get on tangent.
Yeah.
Stop.
Yeah, okay.
The only other good Metallica album is like one of the later ones. It takes like 4 more albums to get to it, but it like actually has the speed that it needs. And then the rest of them are also bad.
Ride the Lightning. Fucking love that album.
It's part of the Four Horsemen.
Yeah. So let's move on to the next question before, as you mentioned, we go into a tirade here. How did the book compare to others you've read by the same author or in the same genre, Tekonis?
Well, considering I have not read any other books by the same author or in the genre, I can't answer this question.
Okay, so let me reformat this question for you so it pertains to you. Having now, for the first time, read a 40K novel set in was arguably the gold standard for grimdark, given the story and everything, and like the metaphysical rekindling and trial. Is this something that you yourself would pursue going forward in the future without me dragging you along, say for like a book club in the future?
I mean, probably. I did like even though, like you said, even though the book was short, I did enjoy how it was written and how like the grimdark setting. But like I've already mentioned this to you in the past, I tend to lean towards, if I'm in this type of setting, more toward grim hope rather than grim dark. But that's just me. But I understand the setting is grim dark.
Okay.
I'm gonna be real with you. This is grim hope.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
This is like on the side of grim hope because it has a hopeful ending.
Yeah, like they actually everyone there's a group at least survives at the end rather than like everyone just dies at the end.
It's not a morose novel.
It isn't a Sea of Souls.
I mean, I guess.
Okay. I'm just poking. So hey, Chamlan, your bit.
I mean, we've read Gate of Bones.
Yeah. Same,
which is arguably the second best Dawn of Fire novel up to this point. It remains that way.
It's very good. Yes.
I doubt that it's going to get toppled.
It is hard to topple Throne of Light. Or no, wait, which was the one that was the first one for you? I forget.
For me, it's Martyrs 2.
Oh.
Certainly the best in Dawn of Fire.
Well, I mean,
Throne of Light's pretty mid.
Okay. Because I couldn't remember, because you weren't quite clear towards the end of the last book club whether or not that took the slot.
Oh, I mean, it's an actually good novel.
Yeah.
As opposed to just like good for this series.
Okay. So anything else to add on that question?
I mean, no, not really. Andy Clark continues to be Andy Clark. A solid enough writer. More or less. Which is hard to find in Black Library, it seems.
I know, right? And that's the thing I was going to say, too. Andy Clark is slowly becoming one of my favorite authors of the Black Library. To date, he hasn't produced a stinker for me. I've been waiting for the other shoe to drop, but no dice. So bravo, Mr. Clark. Bravo. So with that pandering out of the way, please join us one day. Tekonis, were there any quotes or passages that particularly resonated with you, and if so, why?
There was like the one quote like he mentioned before. I can't remember off the top of my head, but there was one quote that if I look up real quick that I was trying to remember what it was. It was like rather darkness than the illumination of the unclean. That was a good one.
That was pretty good.
That's certainly that's a thought for the day. It's short enough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it was also like the one you mentioned earlier. Like I can't remember the actual whole quote off the top of my head, but I thought it was a pretty decent one too.
Yeah.
Dealing with the one psoriasis.
Chamlan.
The one quote that I remember writing is Flamer squads move up and purge the line breakers. Heavy weapons target those combat walker beasts, the six-legged things with all the guns.
The six-legged things with all the guns.
Why did you like that?
Because it's just like target the six-legged things with all the guns. I don't know what it is. Just shoot it. Just shoot it. Make it not my problem.
Make it not my problem. Can do, sir. So this time around, I actually managed to extract a quote that resonated with me. Surprising, considering I listened to the audiobook over reading it this time around. And it just goes to show you how profound it was for me. So here it goes. I'm going to read it. I will be slain and slain again, agreed Celestine. But each time I die, I will also live. And each time I live, I will fight, for that is my duty. That is my side of the bargain that was struck that day. And with each life, I will know satisfaction in service. And with each death, I will know contentment in acceptance. For with every battle fought and life given, I do my duty to the emperor and his endless flock. And so do I come ever closer to my reward. Dear listeners, when I read that, it actually gave me goosebumps. Doesn't happen very often. This right here shows everything you need to understand about Saint Celestine, which is like why this is the GOAT quote for me for this novel. How better could you describe a character than with this self-actualization of the character when confronting her manifested doubt? So yeah, that's my 2 cents. Any other thing in regards to this topic before I move on to the next question?
No, I mean, I think it's interesting. It makes you wonder if this is also a conception of like when Daemon get more power. Like it's kind of hard to phrase. So like when the Daemon products were initially getting corrupted, they slowly got more and more corrupted. It chipped away at them. They came back and they died, and they come back again. They get more and more corrupt. That's why they get new models. It makes you wonder if there's an opposite spectrum in the point for Celestine and the other living saints, because they also go through cycles of reincarnation of like what is the end point of a living saint. Because if we're gonna get deep into the theophilosophical discussions of the nature of 40K. Does it involve essentially the abstraction of becoming, where it's a punishment for a daemon to get thrown back into their god because like you don't get to be a consciousness anymore, I'm just going to eat you. Mm-hmm. Is it a reward for an imperial saint to gain enough ascension to become one with the emperor, as they're already a shard of the emperor's power? And that feeds back into the split consciousness discussion that's all the way back in Inquisition War, of like shards of the emperor's thought, and they don't all know what's going on, but like everybody who has faith, theoretically actual faith, has a piece of it. Does that help? Is that going to help? What does that look like? Do they just become do they become avatars of the emperor? Like what does that look? There's an interesting implication in the idea of every time I die, I am a step closer to my reward. But it's an implication that every time I die, less and less of me is there.
Yeah. Yeah, no,
So the ship of Thesis, but as a person?
Basically.
More or less.
It's fucking brilliant. You're on fucking fire today, Chamlan. This is the shit that I've been wanting. Thank you.
I've been wanting, so I haven't been dropping before.
We have these deep conversations about 40K off camera. I mean, yeah. Yeah. So we've had plenty of conversations like this in the past before, but like I do believe this is the first time for that conversation specifically where I got it recorded, and that's awesome. That was very good. I'll talk about goosebumps. Cockles there. I have nothing to add because like you hit the nail on the head here, man. Like for real. With that note, let's move on to the next question because now I feel diminished.
So does Celestine.
Yeah, I know, quite. So, Tekonis, would you recommend this book to others? Why or why not?
I would say yes. I mean, I enjoyed the book. I did like the layout. If anything, I kind of wish the book was just a little bit longer.
Mm-hmm.
And kind of like how Chamlan was saying, like, maybe not so jumpy between every chapter's a jump. Maybe like a couple chapters, then jump. A couple chapters, then jump. Like, just spread it out a bit more. But other than that, I would still recommend it, I think.
Okay. All right. Chamlan?
I mean, usually I view this question of would I recommend this book to a beginner to the universe.
Yeah.
A beginner to the universe, way too high concepts.
So a little high.
I mean, well, no. Here's the thing: you're not a beginner. You've been through multiple campaigns of 40k RPGs.
Oh, true.
We've talked at you about 40k. You've been on multiple podcasts about 40k lore. You have background and understanding at least baseline concepts of like, hey, this is the living saint of the Sorites.
Yeah.
But like, if you jumped straight in with this book, you wouldn't understand anything about what's going on. Not really. You'd be like Celestine at the beginning of the mountain.
Yeah.
Who am I? Why am I here? More or less. What's going on?
I'm scared. So this book is short and sweet and doesn't require much from the viewer to grasp, I personally believe. I would recommend it wholeheartedly, but only because its brevity is precisely why it gets my stamp of approval. Like, I will concede the point to you that, like, it would be hard to grasp for the uninitiated. So, like, I would say, like, ask Tekonis here, but as you pointed out,
I'd 100% say, like, you don't need a lot, but you do need something.
Yeah, no. Unfortunately, it falls back into the, like, unless you know what demons are and can correlate between the what a living saint is and what a demon is.
Yeah, like I said, you don't need a lot, but you do need something. It's not like you don't need advanced understanding of Warhammer 40k and like the underpinnings of the entire setting to get this book.
Mm-hmm.
But you do need at least like you can't come in fresh.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like you could, but I don't. It might be a mild disservice. But moving on from that, I think
if you came off of like the Sorites Codex,
yeah,
you'd be fine.
Oh well.
If you're like a Sisters Army player and you've never read a Black Library book and you're like, I've read the Codex and I like the Army, you'd be fine with this book.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Exactly, but that's not a lot, but it is something.
Yeah,
you know what I mean,
yeah, I do. I get where you're coming from. So Tekonis, how did this book make you feel overall? Did it change your perspective on any topic in 40K specifically?
I mean, overall feeling for the book. I mean, I had a good feeling about it. I was like, I felt like they said it wasn't too long or wasn't too. Like I said, it could be a little longer, but the length didn't bother me at all.
Mm-hmm.
As for my perspective on any topic, I don't know if it necessarily changed my perspective on anything per se. I mean, it just gave me an overall deeper look into like Celestine herself and the Sorites, and like more how like I guess like kind of a more of a look into like how tactics work, how they're written anyway in a book for the Militarum.
The thing with 6 legs.
Yeah, six legs, shoot it.
All right.
I don't know how to understand that, but bullets in it. All right, sir.
Make it not my problem. Yes, sir. Chamlan.
The only thing, like, at first I was like, I wonder if all the other saints have to do this. And I'm pretty sure that they do, because the deity goes through a cycle of reincarnation in the Sabbath Crusade. So, like, it's the same concept.
For some reason, I was thinking that she was the only saint.
No, there are multiple.
I didn't know there was multiple.
She was the only one
saints.
for a while.
Like, Celestine is the only one I knew of. I didn't know there was other saints.
She's the only one for a while.
Okay.
There are other living saints that got introduced later on. I think around 4th or 5th. But I think she was the first one for, like, the entirety of 3rd.
Yeah. I mean, it was her for the longest time, and then they introduced that one that's always kicking it in the Black Library. the one that you really like.
Stern's complicated. Yeah, she is technically a living saint, but her cycle of reincarnation doesn't require her to go through the warp.
Yeah, and then there's the deity.
There's deity. There's Drusus. There's what's his name? Lord Solar, whatever the fuck is
the newer model.
No,
were you talking about Macarian?
Yeah, Macarian's a saint. He's a saint.
I mean, he was canonized as one, but I don't recall him coming back to life.
I'm just saying they canonized him as a living saint.
That's fair. I mean,
so he probably just hasn't come back.
That's Space Alexander the Great.
He could. Oh, okay. I don't know.
It would be a trip if he did. Okay, so I knew going into this book what Saint Celestine's whole deal was. It is talked about on lore channels, even though it is worth noting that this novel is the source for the metaphysical ordeal of Celestine having to travel through the warp to regain her fractured memories. So while not new to me, it made me appreciate the struggle more.
But coming soon to our own lore channel.
No.
Probably not.
No. I'm not going to touch the sisters until I get done with the Xenos.
Really?
No. We're going to keep it as it is. As for perspective, I would confess my desire to learn more about the Sisters of Battle has been piqued. We will see where that takes us in the future. Ha! I'm kidding. It's a plug. We're doing a Sisters video. Ah! No.
Okay.
No, this is being facetious. So, Tekonis.
I really thought my desire to... I thought you were going to end that with another touch joke, honestly. But...
No, because it's always unintentional with me.
Okay.
Dear viewership, you should know that I'm not this funny in real life. I definitely say things and I don't think, and then they're funny because I don't understand. That's how I am. That being said, Tekonis, were there any plot twists that surprised you, and how did they affect your understanding of the story?
The only plot twist I could even think of is, even if you could call it that, is Joffrey revealing his little thing he's been constantly clutching under his thing. It's it's an Inquisitor.
That's a rosette. Gotcha.
I was thinking it was going to be a chaos weapon of some sort.
That's what I was thinking. Maybe it was some kind of
you're
secretly chaos.
You're just a cultist. Got it.
No,
you're just an Inquisitor. Got
he's just an Inquisitor.
So I dare say, was all three of us in sync on that? Because
it's because he was so poorly written. I figured he was a cultist.
So the priest being not only an Inquisitor but a Psyker as well is the twist that I didn't foresee.
I mean, a lot of Inquisitors are Psykers.
Yeah, but the hypocrisy of it's not lost on the viewership, hopefully.
And I guess the only reason that Joffrey was fell in the end is because the Cicatrix cranked his psychicry up so high and it caused him to fall. That just is what it is. I still think they could have been a little subtle about it.
Yeah. So, anything else on your end you'd like to add for that question?
No other twists. I was like, oh, he's an Inquisitor.
Yeah.
That's not better. But...
That's not better.
I was just... Because, throughout that entire novel, I was like, where is this dude getting off? Is this just, a fanatical zealot, just, in love with his own legend? Why is this dude so bombastically egotistical?
The answer is all of the above.
Yeah, and then it ended up being, oh, he's an Inquisitor. And a Psyker. Oh.
And he's a Chaos Worshipper now. Unwittingly.
And
because all you have to do is sneeze and suddenly you're on the side of
And the Cicatrix Maledictum just happened.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, good stuff, I suppose. Did you, Tekonis, find the author's writing style engaging? Why or why not?
I did. I mean, as someone who has ADHD, was able to keep reading it. So yeah, that's something.
I was going to ask you if your retention was pretty good on this one, but I think
I managed to keep my retention, which I think honestly part of it was each chapter switching to a different scenario was helping with my retention. But
good for you. I didn't think of it like that. Maybe they do that sometimes in order to hook, line, and...
This is the only time that I've seen that. whiplash against each other that hard.
You think it was that hard? Honestly?
Every single chapter? They don't do that in any of the other books. Inferno technically does it because it's a different story after a little bit, but it's not the same thing as a different chapter.
All right. For your part, Chamlan?
I mean, like I said, I don't mind his writing style. His ability to write prose is fine. I didn't like the back and forth in the chapter. But I didn't find it hard to follow. I just found it like irrelevant. The only thing that I found annoying in the writing was like, I'm pretty sure that Celestine could have knocked down that wall on her own, and she was just being really lazy about it. It's like, no, you got to do it. It's like,
but we know you.
But you're literally a living artillery cannon.
No. This is about self-discovery.
No, it's about faith. You got to do it.
You have to have faith.
Destroy that wall.
Well, I quite possibly lost my best friend in the wall. So it seems like, well, she's with the Emperor now.
God wills it. Yeah. Do his fault.
Like,
oh shit! So this was like a quick read for me.
Well, it's only half of the length of a Dawn of Fire novel.
Be that as it may, it was still quicker than it usually is, even if like you add the difference in time. For me, anyway. Andy Clark is a very competent writer who is verbose without being pretentious and to the point. In other words, simple and clean. Just the way I like it. So, Tekonis, what did you learn from this book that you didn't know before?
The cycle of Celestine and how she comes back.
Cool.
Like, I didn't know any, like, well, I knew, like, Celestine was, like, literally saying that she would be reborn eventually, but I didn't know, like, how about that went. Or how I didn't really know much about Celestine to begin with.
Yeah, so, like, once we explained it to you in more detail whilst we were doing this review, did it make any realization more profound? Now that you
like more stuff like clicked together, like more of like realizing what the parts of her were, like what the Chamlan was saying, about them being actual, like, what'd you say it was?
I'm getting the name wrong, but I'm pretty sure it's the Gemini sisters.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
But you, Chamlan?
I mean, this is the first time they've ever talked about the reincarnation cycle of a saint. That's expressly why they made this novel. We're like, hey, this is why it's special. We're going to talk about how Celestine comes back, which is true, but I didn't need the rest of the book. You could have dealt with more Celestine being in the warp stuff.
Yeah, no, it's interesting because, as I mentioned before reading this book, I already knew by proxy of like other lore channels and such and codexes and whatnot, like what her whole deal was.
They don't talk about it in codexes.
No, not specifically the metaphysical journey.
Yeah, I knew about Celestine, but we've never. This is the first time 40K has been like, this is what Celestine does when she dies and goes back to the warp and comes
right,
back.
and I understand that, and it is significant. I'm not going to detract from that, other than to say that I was exposed to that knowledge before I read this book, which kind of, if anything, it took away from the flair of it, I feel. But my job is kind of to try and learn everything about the lore. That way I can talk about it with some sense of understanding. But even now, especially with like the whole Gemini thing, I didn't think about that.
If I remember correctly, because all the Gemini sisters in real space are always two sisters that are chosen by Celestine to embody facets of her. Essentially, they're lesser demons. The greater demon. That's just what they are.
Yeah.
And they're guaranteed to die because now we know they have to go back. They die, and then Celestine dies, and now all three of them are in the warp. You can't have a Gemini sister in real space and get Celestine back. Apparently, that's what we're being shown.
It just makes it even darker, which is good because that's the point.
Whoever she chooses will die.
Any sister that's chosen is just like, this is literally the greatest thing that could ever happen to me.
They will rip and tear until it is done. Yes. I'm sure how it's worth noting that there's a couple that stick around a while before they eventually kick the bucket. But one would presume when Celestine goes, they've already gone.
They're I mean, I say they're duty bound, but like their entire thing is to die stopping something from getting to Celestine.
Yeah.
That's the point of them to exist.
They're a lookout.
bodyguards.
They're a lookout, sir, character. So yeah, for my part, because of what I said, unfortunately, I didn't learn a damn thing that I didn't already know from this novel, other than the Gemini bit, which I feel is like, that's fair, because I did not pick that one up. So Tekonis, given 40K has an extensive RPG collection, what would you pull from this novel for a game, like a game idea?
Probably something to do with that, like the War Machine amalgamation there at the end. Someone dealing with that, like adding that into a game. But I'd also want to add Joffrey into the game to give players the pleasure of killing that asshole. Like, this guy's a dick. I want to kill this guy. Well, you'll have the chance. So.
That's pretty good. It's always nice to, be given that chance. Chamlan, what about you?
Sorry, I got something I need to look at. This is the RPG question.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is 2 games. One of them is a dungeon crawl of going up the mountain. It's a roguelike, going up the mountain to kill the War Machine. Or whatever it's called. The other game,
the War Machine.
I mean, yeah, probably.
I don't recall a name. I think they dropped what the cult leader's name is in the very beginning of the book.
I don't know.
But I don't remember it either.
But so that is one game, but the other one is your Black Crusade team had a TPK, and this is how they get back.
Explain to him what Black Crusade is.
Black Crusade is the Chaos Warhammer 40k D100 game where you play Chaos people. But this is the warp stuff. That is 100% like, oh, they all died. I don't really want to end the campaign, so I guess we're going to have a couple sessions where you're in the warp and you got to fight your way out.
Find our way back to reality.
Basically, yeah.
Yeah, I like that. Well, for starters, the system would be only war for me. Which is the one where you're playing as soldiers. You're going to get accustomed to it down the road because I'm going to be running an only war whenever Chamlan's good and done with his stuff. Now, I would make sure my characters were guardsmen, getting a front row seat to Celestine's miracle making. I have some other ideas too, but I will keep them close to the chest as I intend to use them in a later project. Stay tuned in future roleplay videos to find out more. So, Tekonis, what scene would you like to see animated from this novel?
Ooh. I think I would definitely like to see, honestly, just like that final fight.
Yeah.
Like the whole thing of them like fighting their way to the door to blast it open to kick it through the War Machine. Also of like Joffrey coming up behind and getting that fucking plasma gun with his like mind-controlled ass hats to like fight everybody. Just like that entire scene of like him, and then maybe also like the part where like Blast gained his final moments and he's dying.
Yeah, that was a sad scene. Probably would be really cool if it was animated. Chamlan, what about you, man?
I would say probably the last bit of Celestine's thing of like the island, which when I read it the first time I was like, is this Kingdom Hearts? Is this what we're doing? It's like, oh, suddenly she's on a beautiful island. It's like,
what's that? What's
Kingdom Hearts?
Why is there a Japanese song playing in the background?
I kind of interpret that almost as like her version of her heaven.
No, I get that. Yes, that's exactly what it is. But the first, like the moment that I was like, is this what we're doing? Is this Kingdom Hearts?
I will not become a memory.
But that discussion that they have, and then I can't remember if like the white light is right after that or right before. I think it's right after, because I think she finds Duty and Faith after the discussion with Hope. And then they go and they fly, and then she's like in the bright white light, and she comes back. Yeah. But I the discussion with Hope that she has would be more interesting to me.
Yeah, that would be a good scene. I can see that one.
I mean, the only thing I can add is the final battle leading up to the fatal injury of the Saint towards the end of the book. I like that whole discourse she had at the end as she was talking to that other sister's character, and she was like passing away. and like it rekindled her faith in the end, and just being able to see that animated out.
Well, she had her faith rekindled in the tank fight.
Right, but like it was more profound, that conversation. For me, even though what you're saying is technically correct, I felt it was more apt to say that the idea of the faith coming back was in that scene, but towards the end when she was passing and had that conversation, that's when she actually got it.
That, or I'd also say the scene where the Saint first arrives. Just like a scene of her taking down all the battle shit, like all the flying ships, just her alone.
There's something to be said about a winged sister of battle, like beating airplanes out of the sky like a swatter.
Oh, if you like that, then you should read the opening of A Frail Stern, where it is basically her DBZing Super saying her way through a world that's getting like consumed by chaos.
Okay.
Energy blasting Greater Demon apart. I'm not kidding. That's exactly what happens.
It's good stuff.
This is the most DBZ thing that 40K has ever done.
It's good stuff. So, what would you add or remove from the book if given the option, Tekonis?
With all the things I've heard so far in this talk, and knowing like the main purpose of the book, I would, at this point, I probably would remove all of the extra stuff of her being with her on her revival, and actually have a lot of the book just focus on her, like having a book starting off with either with like having the book start off with her dying, and it's like maybe in the first chapter, and like some type of scene, and then it immediately goes into like what she has to do to fight her way back to reality, and then like the last chapter of her being revived.
Chamlan?
So okay, there's a few things. The easiest one to do would be to rearrange the book to be in chronological order.
Mm-hmm.
That'd be the simplest. The more complicated would be if you're going to have a book about a character who is literally rediscovering the fact that they exist as a humanoid thing, she should not have had as much background information as she did in the beginning, because she had a lot of background stuff, and it was just like, oh, I remember this now. But like, I would have rather her be like much more baseline, and then her slowly discovering the fact that she's a human and she's ambulatory and she can make noises with her mouth, and then it's like it has to slowly leak itself back in. Dude, I also would have been like, you would have had to erase Celestine as a name from the majority of the warp stuff.
Mm-hmm.
She shouldn't have discovered her name until the very end. It's like, welcome back.
That'd be a nice play.
This is who you are. But you'd have to change the title of the book to be like, you don't know who this is. It's about a living saint. It's about a saint or whoever.
The living saint. But
the living saint would make it that. You'd have to change the title.
Yeah.
That would be more difficult because almost nobody would get it.
I would.
And it'd be spoiled immediately.
Yeah, I would still buy the book.
But
that would be a sell right there.
So yeah, if you're gonna have a character that's like, because she's the first couple sentences are like her brain kicking on. Yeah. Her like consciousness fading back into her. But they would almost immediately be like, oh, this is my name. It's like why does she know this now? Why doesn't she discover this later?
It would have been a better turnabout.
They could have very easily been like, she could have asked, Faith. She could have been like, well, who am I? She'd be like, well, you're the Pilgrim. She could have just given them a title and be like, that's who you are. Then be like, she actually rediscovers her name.
I like that. That's better. Cleaner. For my part, as I stated before, I wasn't a fan of the back and forth of the narrative. I agree with Chamlan here. They should have been in chronological order. Now, I understand the point of it, but it remains a bit of disjointed mess to me because of it. The other would be the Cadians. Some other guardsman regiment, please. Like, I see Cadians way too much. If you're coming in from, like, a perspective of, like, not knowing a lot about, like, Imperial Guards and regiments in general, the Cadians are, like, the staple. Like, they're like
the poster boys.
They're the Ultramarines of the Imperial Guard. Like, everybody knows the Cadians. The problem is they're just so overdone And, we had the benefit of growing up in the Sabbath World's Crusades first, and then, with to the later part of our life, these Dawn of Fire books where we're actually seeing other regiments that are normally not.
The issue with, let's be real. The issue with Sabbath Worlds, that's still only like 5 regiments in a sector.
Yes.
It's no different.
And yet it's like they're new. They got different flavors about them. It's more, I'm more invested to care because their culture of their regiment is more interesting. Whereas with Acadians, I just like...
Fair, but this was made shortly after Acadia broke.
Yes.
That's why they're in the book.
I understand. I just wish it was something other than Acadia. But that's like a minor gripe at best, frankly. Moving on to the Grimdark scale. Now, Tekonis, you've not been a guest here before. It's pretty simple. We will judge a book off a scale from 0 being the least and 10 being the greatest of like how grimdark the novel was. So like if it's average, obviously it's a 5. But if it did something particularly nasty that really resonated with you and made you feel the ick or whatever, perhaps it'll be higher or lower. That explanation out of the way.
It's more of a gauge of how depressing was this book.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So what would you give this book?
Oh, the idea of that scaling it like a 5.
Yeah, the 5
would be moderate.
Yeah, there wasn't anything. The issue is that the warpy bits weren't like over. The only thing that was like, oh, this is actually kind of interesting was the worm thing. So I'd give it like,
oh yeah, the big bubbly worm.
I'd give it like a solid, 5.5, 6 maybe, just because of the worm.
Am I that guy this day? I gave it a 4. I didn't really.
It's tame. I'm not denying that.
It was very tame.
If we had gotten like it lowered itself because, or it wasn't as good because they didn't give all 4 realms the pass.
Mm-hmm.
Unless we want to go into the concept that the island was a realm of pleasure, which it's not. It reasonably is because it could be. Because I guess Hope was just like, well, you could be here and be happy and then not be like hurt anymore and die repeatedly.
So you could just give up that ghost.
Yeah, that isn't arguing to be made. I would disagree because, again, I was told there would be daemonettes in this book by the cover, and there were not.
Maybe one of the short stories, I guess.
I doubt it. So yeah, because the worm was like an actual, like, full-on demon, creepy, goopy encounter, and like the sisters were all poisoned and stuff. Like, it wasn't just like brushed off. It was like this was an actual hard fight for them. Say like 5.5. Pretty. I would pretty strongly say 5.5 if you were feeling like particularly bad about the various warp sections and the idea of amnesia scaring you. Then maybe a 6.
Yeah, that wigs some people out. So that's fair. The whole not knowing who you are and losing your mind thing.
Yeah, you basically wake up in Silent Hill.
Yeah, that does wig out some people. I don't know. It's a 4 for me. I might be convinced to do a 4.5 because that worm scene was kind of gross.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
It's on the grimdark scale. It's a very tame novel.
Right. So, closing thoughts, anybody? Does anybody have anything they want to say about this novel?
Let's see.
Before we wrap it up?
Oh. Bonus round.
Okay.
Bonus question.
Shit, here we go.
All right, so who do you think Hope is in relation to Celestine?
Now, are we talking like... Because I was already under the impression that those were just shards of her personality. And I guess
I'm asking the question, who do you think Hope is in relation to Celestine?
I thought it was just the child version of her.
Yeah.
Like the innocence of Celestine as a child.
I got
that's
the same.
That's what I thought it was.
That's the impression I got too. She was the child that was at the top of the heap that she was trying to get to. So maybe it's like a metaphysical representation of her lost innocence and her trying to like retrieve it.
Because she brings up the concept of like, well, is it me? Is it a child that I had? Was I the reward? Was I protecting them? I think it's an interesting conundrum as one would hope that Celestine did not make this plea with the Emperor, and then he aged up a child, and then made them as a living saint thing. That would be weird.
Yeah.
There's this storyline, this concept of, well, there's a child of hope, then there's this young woman of faith, and then there's a crone of duty. So you get the whole concept of like the maiden, the matron,
and the crone. Yeah.
The maiden, the matron, and the crone. And Celestine is like this conglomeration of the trifecta. There's technically a term like that for the more pagan ideology of the fates and in those religions. You could feasibly say that hope is a representation of the Holy Ghost in that sense. If you really want to go out there, then the Star Child theoretically is a representation of hope in 40K, and it could be like it is the Emperor being like, well, I mean, you could if you want to, but like you can give up. You're like, there's the trick. If you want to. I've always been interested in the concept that the Star Child is not necessarily a male, rather than the cast off yin side to the Emperor's yang that he eschewed. The inner bounce of a human as opposed to a god, and then that was allowed to rekindle itself into a godling thing in the warp. But that's a lot out there. I'm just saying.
No, to be clear, you're right on the nose, because I won't explain where or when, but it does get explained in some novels that's more or less what that is.
I mean, sure, until they change their mind.
And they can, but they have definitively put it out there that is the human side, the kind side cut off from him and thrown into the warp.
I mean, sure, but I've also read Inquisition War. They'll change their minds in another 5 years.
Well, Inquisition War was more than 5 years ago.
I know that. I'm just saying, they can change their minds whenever they want.
All right. Thought-provoking. Thank you for that, Chamlan. Anything else, Tekonis? You got any final parting words?
No, I don't think so.
Okie dokie. So that looks to be it for this episode. Hey, if you liked this video, please consider giving a like, comment, or subscribe. If you want to get notifications of when our content will drop in the future, hit that bell button. Otherwise, I have been Decurio Iomhar with Decurio Chamlan and Tekonis. Thank you for joining us, and we will catch you all in the next one. Bye.